Hi guys, another episode of the Views from the Stand, and I've got my house full of experts who will tell you what happened in Italy, in the UK. For me, I'm feeling good. I'm very over the top. I wouldn't lie. I went into this weekend thinking that the season for Arsenal would crumble because as much as I want us to always beat Tottenham Hotspur, the suspension and injuries to key players meant that I was a little bit careful and cautious. And if you're listening to me all through, I was scared. Not necessarily because of Spurs, but because I felt the game was supposed to win against Brighton. We lost it, and then we're supposed to beat Spurs. But now we're going there with injuries. So if we lose or drop point against Spurs, I don't know what's going to happen with Man City. I'm not one of those who's really bothered about what happens against Atalanta. I think that at the end of the day, Arsenal will make the top eight. It's not really that bad that Arsenal cannot make the top eight. But to go to 3 point lane, to go play against that shitty club that Arsenal want to be and beat them the way we did was amazing. Three on the roll. The last coach to do that for Arsenal was George Graham in 1988. And so Arteta have joined a very illustrious group of managers who's gone to White Hart Lane, 3 point lane, and gotten maximum points on three straight matches. Having said that, Arsene Wenger, to let you know the importance of that, Arsene Wenger with his diamond and golden generation was unable to do it. But having that said, Juventus couldn't win over the weekend. AC Milan was 4 goals to the good. Ademola Lookman created one and scored one. His speed is really proving that he deserved to be nominated for the Ballon d'Or top 10, but he also deserved to take away the crown from Victor Osimhen. I wish they could create a situation where Victor Osimhen comes in and he presents
And
to
so,
Ademola Lookman. I don't know how possible that would be, but it would be nice. I think the African Footballer of the Year is a foregone conclusion. Having said that, Ansu Flick is putting FC Barcelona on flick just the same way Vincent Company is in good company in Bayern in Munich as is winning non-stop. Well, where do we start? Thiago Motta ball is not working that much for Juventus for now, but we can be patient. But one man who is on top of the Italian Serie A today, I know is feeling good, feeling like he's on top of the world in the words of the band, is Antonio Conte, the man who doesn't mind word, who goes for business. With that, I welcome my gladiators to the arena, starting with you, Bobby. How happy are you that on the weekend that Manchester United trashed? And I said that before. Southampton 3 goals to 0. Now that's giving you confidence going into the European games and then the game against Crystal Palace. I guess that's your next game, or is it Barnsley that's your next game now?
Barnsley.
Yeah. So how is it for you?
Um, it was a good win. Yeah, good win.
The
Three
result was good,
points,
but do you
clean sheet.
agree that the
Yeah.
performance was bad?
Whose performance? United.
Yes, United's performance. For me, I thought that Southampton had that game to win. They just didn't know how to score goals, especially in
Southampton
the first
started
half.
well. Yeah, Southampton started well. I would say for the first 25, 30 minutes, Southampton had the game. But immediately after that penalty miss, the game changed. After that
Yeah,
penalty miss, Southampton did not have a single shot at goal. So that means we are way better. Though there were instances during the game because of Eriksen. Eriksen is not mobile enough. So there are instances in the game when you could run through the midfield. But overall, United was better. United got the possession. If you remember, Southampton has had possession over 65% possession in all the last 3 games they've played. This game was the only game they didn't have the possession. We had the possession.
true.
Um, yeah, so it's basically just that first 30 minutes. That's when they had the game. After
So,
that, they lost the
so
game.
on the strength of that, let me ask this question:
Yeah.
Southampton are the whipping boys of the Premier League. They are one of the worst team in the league right now. Man
Yeah.
United plays like that against a top team, like say an Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City, and they give up the first 30 minutes of the game like they did to Southampton. Do you think that
Mm.
Man United can come back to redeem themselves from that?
No, that's why against Liverpool we couldn't come back. If we play that same way, if you give a team like a Liverpool or an Arsenal 30 minutes, you lose the game, obviously. The main problem is that Southampton can have the problem with Southampton is that they have the possession. In their last 3 games, they have over 65% possession. In
They
their
can't
last three
defend
games, they've
well. They are
had
clumsy in defense, and they can't convert
yeah,
those scoring chances.
yeah. Even though they that game they didn't play with three at the back as they usually play, they played with four. But
Yeah.
still they are showing in defense. They can't defend set plays. They hold the ball. They don't take advantage of the spaces being left to run into because they are slow and they cannot score. So with these things, they can hardly win if they don't tweak their formation.
Let me jump to Italy straight up and talk to Daniele. Daniele, I mean, the expectation was that this was going to be the season where Juventus would play Thiago Motta ball. I think it is early days, but it's the early bird that eats the early worm, the best worm, so they say. So in early days, you could tell one or two things from what is going on. Thiago Motta ball worked very well in Bologna, but I don't think he's working at Juventus, but it's still early days. He's still getting to know them. But then company ball is working in Munich. Flick ball is working in Barcelona. But then Antonio Conte, I expected Napoli to struggle. I honestly expected them to struggle. First game against Verona, they lost 3-0. And we expect that this is the beginning of the struggle. But he's got his players. He's removed Osimhen. Give me a roundup. What do you think of the Italian league so far? Match day 4.
Yeah, good. Hello. I think this year Serie A is very unpredictable. At least it has been until today, where obviously, as you said, it's early in the day, but that's something that I think fans like. They like it when, you're playing a game and you don't know what the final score is going to be. And so, yeah, it's been a bit of a roller coaster for Napoli. They started very poorly. 3-0, very bad defeat in Verona, and now they came back with a couple of wins, and this time they had a very, very convincing win in Cagliari, which is never an easy stadium to play in, also because of the wind. And what to say about Juventus again? After 4 games, very difficult to judge. They're showing that they're still very solid in defense, which was also a trademark of the previous manager, Allegri. Okay. So obviously, probably fans expect a bit more in terms of producing something. But I guess that there's 2 new signings, Coop Miners and Nico Gonzalez. They've just joined the club. There was the international break. So I think it's like probably in 1 month time, we're going to see some, real difference. And also, I think, at the moment, Juve is playing with Vlahovic and Yildiz up front. And Yildiz is 19, 20, so it's young.
Yeah.
As I was saying other times, it's the right age if you're good enough to be launched. Like, Bayern Munich didn't have many problems launching Musiala, or, Borussia Dortmund with Bellingham when he was 18, or Barcelona with Lamine Yamal, Pau Cubarsí, all those players. But I think in the case of Yildiz, also judging from what some Italian pundits are saying, probably, he might work better if he plays more in a number 10 position with 2 strikers in front of him. But the problem is, who are these 2 strikers going to be? One is going to be Vlahovic. Who's the second one? So if he plays as a second striker, at the moment, he's not as deadly maybe as Paulo Dybala was, because, probably the idea is that, type of player, but Dybala can score 15 goals per season. Yildiz, scored 2 goals last season. He's still young, is unproven. The level of goals that he can bring is certainly very good. And the 2 central defenders are very good defenders, Gatti and Bremer. But probably Thiago Motta last year at Calafiore in Bologna is like a kind of defensive playmaker. He often wants the ball. He wants to start playing the ball. While Bremer and Gatti, they don't have this quality. So it's probably, we're at the beginning of a new project. So I think 2 victories and 2 draws are not bad, considering that, 1 draw was against Roma, the other one in Empoli, and then I think I was a bit surprised Inter didn't win in Monza. There was a draw. They were actually lucky to draw. AC Milan had a very easy win against Venezia, who probably seemed to be one of the weakest clubs this year. And that's the kind of new element, is that I can't tell you right now which 3 clubs or 4 clubs which four teams are definitely the weakest ones. While in the past few years, it was easier to say. So it's a very, balanced league. Atalanta struggled against Fiorentina. Fiorentina have like 2 points. They struggled, and Atalanta are a very good team, a Champions League team. So Torino failed the chance to be, at the top of the league. They drew with Lecce at home. So, it's very balanced. It's very hard. Roma are struggling. They were close to winning in Genoa, but then Genoa snatched a last-minute equalizer. So, very, very interesting league. Very, very interesting. I think Napoli, Inter, Juve, probably AC Milan are better than the other ones, Atalanta too. But it's interesting that the level is a bit more level than in the past few years, and that's good. It's good for Serie A. It's good for the game.
Now, I need to ask you this. Does Conte give Napoli an edge that's different from what they used to? I mean, we used to say, not just us, but Fabio Capello said it, that Napoli wins one title and celebrates it for 10 years. But with Conte is a Serie A winner. It's one in Italy, it's one in England. Everywhere he goes, he's a winner. You put it that way. Does that now bring them to the point where an Antonio Conte will say, you know what, guys, put your foot on the ground. I'm not here to wait for 10 years to win a title. I think we can give it a shot. Does the experience and the winning mentality of Antonio Conte, Lukaku, does it give them an edge? Does it put them in a place where they say, you know what, we're not just going to qualify for the European competition, but we want to compete for the title?
Yeah, I'm sure, his record, speaks very loud about that. As you said, he won wherever he went. It doesn't last long, 2-3 years, because it's so demanding, probably, that the players are kind of, drained of their energy, especially mental energy after a while. I think this year has got a big advantage. Napoli are not playing in the Champions League, or they're not playing any European competitions, not even the Conference League, okay? So they've got only one game per week. And I think Napoli last year were too bad to be true. It was a team that had been close to winning the Serie A title for years. And then 2 years ago, they had that incredible season. But they had been close to that, even in the past with Sarri, with Spalletti, they won. Last year, I think that it was a poor decision in terms of the manager appointed, Rudy Garcia, and then it was downhill after that. And also, I think, they'd been trying so hard for years, and then they finally won the Scudetto. And I think last year there was a kind of, they were probably too relaxed. They weren't motivated enough. So doing better than last year was not too difficult a task. But having said this, Conte is a good manager. We know that wherever he goes, especially if the team needs new energy and new motivation, he's perfect for that job. How long is he going to last? 2 years? Let's see what he does this year.
Let's go to Habib. Habib, I know that you didn't watch the Liverpool game, but did this surprise you to read or to hear or see highlights that, from what I hear, I also didn't see the game, that Liverpool played very well, but they lost. Now, I'm not saying that Liverpool are in a place where they are not supposed to lose any game, but okay, again, I'm not going to underrate Nottingham Forest. They've not lost a single game this season, but the Nottingham Forest, the team to come to Anfield to win. Is this the beginning of saying Anfield is no longer that place where people fear to go? Because this is how it always starts. The theater of dream for Manchester United used to be a place where no matter how good you are, you come there, you lose. Then a certain Fenerbahce came there and won. A certain Dortmund came there and got a result. And since then, the crack on the wall begin to open and widen and widen. And now Crystal Palace can go there and beat them. Anybody can go there and beat Man United. Is this the beginning?
Yeah, you could say this is the beginning, but this is Nottingham Forest's first win at Anfield in 70 years. So it's unusual. On Friday, we were not expecting them to beat Liverpool, but they came into the game with a game plan. They tried to stifle the midfield because they know that Liverpool, the way they control the midfield is by having 3 players in midfield. They dictate the game and they spring passes from the midfield. But what Nottingham Forest did this time was very, very different. they try to make sure their midfield is very, very stifled by playing 5 men in midfield, and they stifled Liverpool. And they relied on counter-attacks. I think in first half, they tried to perfect their defensive play. And in the second half, they brought in Odoi, and they were able to hit on the counter, and they grabbed the much-needed goal. So you could say this is the beginning of the end for Liverpool, maybe, but it's their manager bounces over after 3 games. But I think people shouldn't read too much meaning into this game. It's one of those games where things don't go well and you probably lost. But Liverpool have the quality and the personnel to bounce back and get more results.
Okay, so how do we pitch this one? Do I say that we should credit Nottingham Forest more than say it is Liverpool that did not do well? Let's go to Bobby with this. Bobby, is it a case of Nottingham Forest did excellently well and they deserve the credit, or it is Liverpool that just had a bad day, one-off bad day in the office, as China is now running away from us? He can't come to defend his Liverpool team anymore. But Bobby, let me come to you on this one.
What I would say is that it kind of goes both ways. It's basically Nuno exploited an existing problem in the Liverpool team.
What is that existing problem?
Liverpool. The funny thing that people don't really know is that Liverpool and United play the same system.
True.
The only difference is that Liverpool have better players who are adapted to that system, which
are more efficient up front.
Yeah, exactly. That is just the major difference. So Nuno now decided to exploit that problem, choke the midfield with 5 central midfielders, no wingers. Then in the second half, when Liverpool had decided to change their defense, go to a back 3, he decided to bring in wingers, because now Liverpool will now leave spaces behind, and the wingers will now exploit that. If you check, Liverpool are a team that get at least 5 chances per game since Slot came in. 5 chances per game. In this game, they had only 1. So Forest nullified the wings, nullified the fullbacks. Everybody has to come into the middle, and the middle is choked. So there's no space for the interplay, no space, no way you can get a Szoboszlai free as you usually used to be. And another thing is that I said it from the beginning, Liverpool do not have a natural number 6. Gravenberch is not a natural number 6. When Gravenberch was in Ajax with Ten Hag, Gravenberch plays up front. When people don't even ask the question, when Gravenberch went to Bayern, why wasn't Gravenberch playing? He's not a 6. So Liverpool does not have a natural 6. And without McAllister is more like coaching Gravenberch how to play further behind. And once Gravenberch is not there or he's not in form, they lose the midfield. So I wouldn't say it's a flash in the pan, but Liverpool have always had issues, but nobody has exploited those issues. Maybe Nuno has now opened the eye to certain people so they can see what is going on. But I always said it, Liverpool are not a finished item. They are also a work in progress.
So should we say that Liverpool are not in a place where we can say they will compete for the title this season? Is that what you're saying?
Of course. I never put Liverpool as a contender for the title. People did, but I never put them as a contender for the title based on what I had seen in maybe 3 games or 2 games, because there are some silent flaws in that team.
Okay, so let me take this to Habib. Habib, do you agree?
Oh yeah, I do. I do agree. Although they are not a contender for the league this season, but they will do better than most teams. They are in the top 3 bracket for the league.
Let's come to us now. I'm not going to brag, but Habib, let's continue with where you stop. We're talking about us now. Without some key players previously, and I tweeted that Arsene Wenger would have lost this game. One of the things that's been missing with the Arsenal team after the Champions League finals was the fact that Arsenal do not know how to address matches based on one, available materials and the opposition they play against. If you get what I'm saying. Arsenal do not attack game based on, okay, so we're not strong enough to go all out this time. Let's play deep and hit on the counter. There is just this whole mentality that Wenger installed. Play the Arsenal way, the Wenger way or the Arsenal way. Yesterday, just like at the Etihad last season, Arteta decided, you know what? Let's not do the Arsenal way. Let's sit back. we already know that we have giants at the back, men who can defend. They can defend clean, they can defend neat, but they can also go rough, they can go hard. And Arsenal went in that way to defend very well, to to hold their own and make sure that there was no gap in defense. And eventually it led them to winning that game. What is your assessment of Arteta's tactics in the game and Arteta's Arsenal? Because we're not having 6 foot. Julian Timber worked his sort of, in my opinion. Some people think he didn't, but I think that he worked his sort of. Gabriel deserved the Man of the Match award. Saliba was there, silent warrior. Ben White, he could go off and on, but was fantastic. The midfield was where I was worried because I felt Jorginho and Thomas Partey were going to be very slow, and Tottenham Hotspur high line and high pressing game were going to overrun them. But I was asking the Arteta tactics of deviating from what Arsenal fans have come to used to know, transitioning from Wenger into Unai Emery and in the early days of Arteta, where no matter who Arsenal play, there's the Arsenal way, to now a more tactical approach where you play on two fronts. Who is my opposition and what are the materials that I have? How do I approach the game? Is this a better form of coaching than compared to the previous way? That's what I was asking you. Overall assessment of the Arteta tactics and the win against Tottenham Hotspur.
No, I mentioned earlier before you went off, like Arteta is different. I don't think people give him enough. I said he played under David Moyes and Everton team. He also played under Arsene Wenger, and he also coached with Pep Guardiola. So he has all these different elements of coaching. And one you must also be able to adapt to your identity based on your position, and also based on the quality of man. You didn't have Declan Rice, you didn't have Odegaard. So it's the sensible thing to just adapt your approach to your opponent. Yesterday, Arsenal were defensively, they were solid.
Very.
Like if you watch as a neutral, you would observe that defensively they were solid. I think the game was under control for most times because Spurs had any way of scoring. They had a couple of chances, I think, in the first half where Arsenal was playing out of the back and Dominic Solanke got the ball and it was diluting the ball. It was from the high intensity Spurs had in that game. Teams that play like Spurs, there's always this high energy, there's always this intensity, but when they get into the final third, they are not aggressive enough, they are not clinical enough. That's why I was like, it takes to like win the game. And Arsenal just did everything comfortable. And these are the type of wins that, as an fan, I'm win. You guys,
it's my network anyway. But Bobby, next game for Man United in the league is Crystal Palace. After that, I think it's Spurs. At some point, Spurs are going to come good. They've lost back-to-back now. There's a point where they will come good. I don't know if my calculation of the future is correct. Maybe I'm wrong. But can this translate into the new way Man United will be playing? And do you trust the selection? Why is Garnacho not starting? Why? I mean, what's the reason? Is it the need to have a stronger bench? Or why is Garnacho not a starter for Man United right now? What does he need to do to start? Yeah.
Starting from your last question, what does he need to do to start? He just needs to work harder, that's all.
So right now, currently, he's not working hard?
Yeah, I would. But according to Ten Hag, he's still getting to more fitness because of the Copa America, which he didn't really play much. So he's feeding him gradually, like some other players in the team. According to Ten Hag, they are not fully fit. The only person the only winger who has been playing consistently so for coming from the bench, I'm not even really, as long as Rashford works with the team and puts in a good workout, does what he needs to do, either gets goals, contributes, works hard on the wings with his fullback, puts in the assists or scores, and Garnacho comes in and does the same thing, either scores, puts a good work, as long as you are delivering, who starts, but you have to deliver. Arsenal have really made progress from when Arteta joined the team. If you check from where they were to where they are now, it's a lot that has changed, but it's a gradual process. I remember the times when people were saying Arteta out. Even I could see what was going on. But what I was saying is that what was going on, you can't see an immediate result. It's going to take some time. But people were saying Arteta, I said, just what? Give this man some time. And if you watch, there's been steady progress from each season. The team gets better. Each season, the team gets better. Coming to this season, especially with the game of yesterday, that is when I gave a top of my heart for Arteta, because that game was a tactical and defensive masterclass. Those are the games you have to win if you want to win the title. Those games you win when you know that you have key players out, but you can still churn out a very good result. The defensive line, the midfield was perfect. The fullbacks, Timber in particular, wonderful. So Arsenal has grown in leaps and bounds, and I think I still tip them for the title, though it's not going to be easy, because coming to next week, they have to get a very good result against Man City if they want to win the title. For me, I even think that they should go and win.
All the good work they've done, Arteta needs to win a trophy.
No, of course. He needs to win a trophy.
They have to win a trophy. For all the
Not even a trophy. He needs to win the Premier League.
They have to win the Premier League, yeah.
Yeah, because he's already won the FA Cup.
Because you cement your legacy as like an all-timer if you win the Premier League, especially in this area.
What if he goes on to win the Champions League? Why are you lowering the
still
bar?
good.
Oh, he's still good.
Still good, but I don't think he'll win the Champions League.
We don't think he'll win the Champions League.
Yeah,
you guys are evil.
Then coming to United.
So let's take it to Man United.
Yeah, coming to United, from where Ten Hag saw United to where Ten Hag is now.
Why are you sounding like he saw United at the gutters?
Yes, he did. Because that team he inherited was the worst Man United team. That team had so many issues, from backbiting, from leaks, from poor mentality, from wrangling between players, from players downing tools. There were so much problems in that team. He even said it. Everybody knows. We all know. Check that team then to the team now. There's a difference. There's only a blind man will not see the difference. There has been a difference. Yes, the first season we finished third. We won a trophy, which we hadn't won in 6 years. People should put that, mark that, for 6 years. The following season, yes, there were issues, but we all know there were issues on and off the pitch. Talk about the takeover. Talk about the directors. Talk about players like Dodin Sancho's issue, downing tools. Talk about Anthony and his issue with the law with the case he had. Talk about injuries. There were too many issues which you cannot deny. Yes, he might have his own problems too, but there were a lot of silent issues in that team. Now coming to this team where he has a new structure, he's bought some players who fit his system. Remember, those players don't, even if they fit his system, they have to grow with the team. Those players also came late. So based on, and if you look at where we are now, there's a change. We play out from the back better. We have better possession. We pass the ball better. We press with better intensity. You can see the link-up play. If you check, let me check this. If you check possession, when it comes to possession, the only team we are behind when it comes to possession is us, Man City and Chelsea.
Bobby, as I agree with you. Yeah? I think as a United fan, my mentality is more or less similar to like a Madrid fan. Like we believe we are the best club in the world. We are the biggest club in the world. And as a United fan, we should be challenging for the biggest trophies, which is the Premier League.
But you need time to build it. You need time to build it. As an Arsenal fan, I believe that Arsenal is a top 2 team in the Premier League. But when we were in 8th position, we were useless. We had Aubameyang, yes, a marquee player. But behind Aubameyang were shitty players. Man United fans need to accept that. That's a reality that you guys are refusing to accept. Liverpool, it took them 30 years.
Would Madrid fans also accept like building and finishing?
They had that problem where they were getting knocked out in the Champions League by Lyon every quarterfinal. No, the standard were not there. They didn't win any title for 6 years. You forgot? They didn't win the League Cup before Mourinho came. They didn't win any league title. So it happens. It happens. I mean, I agree with Bobby on this one. Man United fans have to realize that, yes, I agree, one of the biggest club in the world. But do you know how bad your club have to be that you have a leaking roof in one of the biggest club in the world? That's how much gap have happened. Look at the Man City team, for instance, for crying out loud sake, that everybody is competing against. They sold their backup striker for 82 million. Name any other club in the Premier League that can sell their leading striker, not their backup striker, their leading striker for over 50 million. That's what tells you the story. The leading striker for Napoli, who won the highest goal scorer, nobody bought him. He's on loan in Galatasaray. Victor Osimhen. The backup striker for Man City was sold for 82 million. And it wasn't even a haggle. It was just straightforward, okay, let's just get this deal done. If there was a debate for like 4 clubs, that guy would have gone for about 120 million. So that's it.
Sure.
We'll call it a wrap today. And then on Friday, we'll be back again to, continue this conversation. Thank you guys for being here on the show. It's the Views from the Stand, bridge edition we have today.
Thank you.